So my witcher?
Broadcast away.
Everyone, you are now live on the web. Everything you can say can and will be used in the social media.
Okay.
Alright, this is okay, Christian, Felicity, Stefan, John, Kurun, Patrick, Chris, Austin, Alia. That's everyone? Did I miss anybody?
How many is that?
Well, you can make sure all the people listed are.
Okay. Christian, can you get away as a proof that you're there?
Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay. Stefan.
Can you hear me?
Can we get away from you? Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. It's perfect.
Sweet.
Stefan and slash Tommy Domain. Can we get a signal?
Yeah.
Yo, that's right. You're there. And there's us three.
You can't hear me?
Chris, Austin, and Alia. Yeah, we can hear you, man. We can hear you. And what that means is that we have quorum under of existing legal members. First, you want to vote on everybody else, right?
Okay, considering that we put out a call for people to do the legal transition that's been now 4 weeks, and that the deadline is now at 9 a.m. Quito time. All those who have entered their paperwork since that time until now
we should vote on it.
Are going to be voted on right now. Can you call out the names?
The names are who we got paperwork from. We've got paperwork from Felicity, from John, Kenny, Karun, Patrick, Cassie, Andy. With all this paper, and Patrick Gailey's just said that he's here via text. As you'll notice in the bottom, he's having problems with his microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, and once we vote those people in, we're still going to have quorum, or we just lost Felicity by technical.
She's going to come back. Anyway, let's just move on. Kenny's here as well.
Okay, so the first motion is to admit all those members who were part of the de facto group, who have paperwork in to become part of the legal group. Of the 5 legal members who I mentioned before, all those in favor say aye.
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 Cool.
Stefan, we need your vote's the only one we're waiting on.
And Patches.
No, well, none of you get to vote until, yes, now you all get to vote. Now you're all in.
Yay!
Welcome to Important Call, everybody. Motion passed unanimously.
Yes, that's a good.
Can I have my money now?
Yeah, all the money's coming, Kenny. The huge money. Okay, that's good.
So,
Is Felicity back? Felicity.
Priest just set off some fireworks at the local church tomorrow.
Yay! Can you, Felicity? You've just been voted into Important Call, the legal entity.
it was a really big moment.
Brilliant. Yeah!
Well done, you guys.
Okay, the next what's the next order of business?
Well, Chris Spanos had a vice president.
Vice President has an announcement to make.
Which is my resignation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to inform you all that as of this important moment where you're all voted in, I'm going to be resigning my position as vice president.
Which leads us into the next business, which is to vote on the new board, unless anyone has any further comments on our founding vice president, president's departure. Okay. The board members that have been proposed on the email list were Alia as president to remain president, John as vice president, Cassie Findlay who's not in attendance because she's unwell, but sent a proxy vote in favor of herself and everyone else as secretary, and Patrick, who is here via text, as treasurer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Resign vote doesn't count.
1, 2,
Aye.
3, 4. Do we have? Was that yes from you, John, Kenny, Karun? Christian says aye. No, we're just voting on the. We're voting on the list, right? Is that going to be okay? Christian says yes. Kenny says yes. John says yes. Karun says yes. Alia says yes. Austin says yes. Felicity, do we have a Felicity? Do we have a vote for you for the board? Vote from you for the board.
Oh, I lost you. Sorry. What do I need to vote?
We're voting now to appoint the new board that was discussed in the emailing list, which is Ali as president, John as vice president, Cassie as secretary, and Patrick as treasurer.
I concur. I vote for that.
Okay, Felicity. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of.
And
1, 2.
Andy has his vote by email proxy.
Yeah, Andy and Cassie
All
said
in favor.
And Cassie voted by email proxy on the public list, on the group list that you guys can see. Well, we still have quorum, don't we? Because there's only two.
Membership, yes.
There's only 2 members who are here, so we can't possibly not. Okay, great. So that was unanimous. I'm going to tell Patrick to vote yes for this.
How is that?
It's the priest of the local church in Zamora who's celebrating with us.
Oh, of course.
Awesome. We have the blessing of the Zamora priest.
Yeah, he's setting off fireworks from the top of his church.
He's excited. We're all excited.
Okay, what else do we need to do?
That's
it.
In terms of legal stuff,
that's the business of the day.
People who have been here just to vote, you can now leave and go to your business. We will still talk about some maybe discussion stuff. If you make decisions, hey, probably still have fun.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, we wanted to vote on how to make decisions in the future.
We wanted
by physical attendance.
One thing we wanted to discuss is the policy of new attendances, of admitting new members, including those who were part of the de facto group but haven't got the paperwork before today. The idea was that we say that they have to, that we'll make a new decision based on the merits. That's what I'm proposing. Do people agree with that, or do you want to leave that issue, or what?
I think it's something we should discuss now because everyone's here.
Exactly. And the agenda proposed defining this meeting also named this as a point to be discussed in this meeting. So we should.
Yeah, we should discuss the because I mean my concern is that there's been people who as Alia said, there's been 4 weeks for people to get their paperwork in on this front, and if they can't meet that deadline, is there a reason to think that they're gonna after much hassling? Is there not a good reason to have to sort of hassle them again? I mean, one thing I should say is when we passed the transition motion in the de facto group, which was the email/Facebook group, we said anyone who's a member of the de facto group who applies before the first General Assembly will get automatic admission into the legal entity, and we just voted to ratify that, to act on that decision. What I'm just suggesting now is something we can probably all agree on, is that any further applications need a fresh vote, and then there's no longer automatic admission. What do people think about that?
It seems that's logical at this point. And frankly, it's what I had expected going into this. So I mean, that's and it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone either.
Fantastic. Do we want to move on a motion, or does people have more to say about it?
It's probably something we should draft and actually write out, though.
Okay.
So this brings us to the next point, which is we're going to be voting in like physical, like these, general assemblies, or are we going to be voting by mail as we usually do with a 48-hour window?
I think it's only practical that we continue to propose amendments that are written out and give people a 48-hour window, because it's a lot to ask for someone to be able to show up to every meeting that we might have, because we're all in different time zones. So that would be my only. I think it's better this way to discuss it, yes, but to vote is different.
Before he goes, I'd like to say that Chris is someone I'd like to approach again later, along with people like other senior sort of media people, because we're going to need some, we have this policy of transparency. Sorry to go off on a tangent here, but it's just before Chris leaves, I wanted to say this. We have this policy of transparency. However, there is going to be some need for secret communications and some redaction of sources just for safety reasons. And what I'm thinking is that we'll need at some stage some kind of information auditing board which can go through our redactions and our secret communications and just confirm to our patrons and the general public that they are of the nature that we said they were, that our policy of redactions and secrecy has been followed, that we're not using that as cover for more nefarious, deceptive behavior. It's not something to vote on now. I just wanted to sort of raise the idea while Chris was in the room.
All right. Bye, everyone. Sorry for the interruption. Take care.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey, me and Ryan might go off for drink, like a lunch something later on today.
I'm gonna.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much for coming. So, so I think the admission, were we at the admission thing or something?
We were discussing that. Sorry for the interruption, guys. We were discussing the admission thing. But what this feeds into is decision making from now on. Ali, are you clear on what the statutes say about us making decisions via email, or do we need to make a decision on that now to change the rules?
The statutes don't say you can't do it by email, but it says it has to be at a general assembly. It has to be a direct vote. I don't know if that means...
To admit members?
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to change that now? Do we have the capacity to change that at this meeting, or do we want to leave that for another time in case it creates complications with the authorities here?
Well, if I had known, I would have prepared so that we have a coherent pathway to do this. So no, I don't think I could keep up.
Yeah, let's wait on that. I mean, there's no reason to change that immediately.
Yeah, we've jumped through all the hoops. We've jumped through all the hoops that we need to get through. I'm not going to go through the documents.
No.
We're not going to go. We've jumped through all the hoops we need to get through by the 16th, which is when we hand in our non-preliminary long-term board,
which is 1 year term,
to the I think, which is a 1-year term, by the way. But we can. There'll be ways to review these positions earlier than that if people want. What was I going to say?
Maybe the one other thing to do is to determine the next ordinary meeting, which has to happen in 3 months.
It can happen before then.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Can we have another one? We can have an extraordinary one before.
Yeah, we can have an extraordinary one whenever we like.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. To admit new members, we have to call it under the current statutes. It has to be at either an ordinary or extraordinary General Assembly. And for it to be a General Assembly with quorum, we need half plus 1. So that means we've now got how many members? We've now got, we voted to admit, how many did we get?
One. Oh, so...
there's 2 people who aren't here who put their paperwork in. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got
10. Cassie and Andy.
Yeah, we've got 10 people in total, so 6 people makes quorum and can make further decisions. And I've already got one application from someone who wasn't a member of the de facto group, a guy called Daniel McKizak, who I think Patrick is probably the only one here apart from me and Alia, who knows him. But he's a remarkable Kiwi fellow who's living in Cairo at the moment, but has a lot to offer, I think. So I mean, he's actually sent in his paperwork just before the meeting, but I couldn't open the PDF, so
also,
we can't actually.
He sent her paperwork in 3 minutes before the meeting, but it wasn't.
But is it correct?
There's no signature, and it's not a scan of her passport. It's a photo of her holding the passport.
It's a photo of her passport.
I don't know
like
when the line becomes. Where do we cross the line of inadmissible?
But like, look, but she hasn't sent completed paperwork. The solicitude's not complete.
Yeah.
Right, which means that if she sends another one, we can then vote on that.
Taking into consideration, she made the effort to make the deadline.
Yeah, she did. Well, she made a bit of an effort and almost made the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, she's not here. I thought she would attend.
Yeah. Well, she's got the paperwork in, but then she hasn't attended the actual meeting either. So look, but like I said, it's something we don't have a valid application from her or Nathan to vote on today. So we'll defer that to the next.
There's nothing.
We'll defer all further.
Joseph H. also sent.
Joseph H. also sent in an unfinished application. So from the de facto group, there was Joseph, Leahy, and Nathan, who didn't actually get the paperwork in on time. Now it's...
You can shut up for a little bit. How about that?
Yeah. The question is, we'll vote on them if they get the correct paperwork in at the next meeting. And anybody else who applies also, like Daniel or other outsiders. And should we try and set a date or a rough time frame to have another meeting to discuss these things, an extraordinary general assembly?
Yes, I was thinking a fairly short period of time so we can get them on board quickly if they really want to participate.
Yeah.
Let's say 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, when are you going to be? You're going to be out in the jungle for a little bit, aren't you, Christian?
Yeah, but there's always the possibility of coming back to town for something in particular like this. So
well,
no problem.
You're going to be in Quito when next?
On the 1st of August, around then.
Well, do we want to? That's just. Do we want to try and do something? Say we'll have another.
2 weeks from now.
We'll set an extraordinary, or well, I won't do it because I've got no formal position. Who calls the General Assembly?
Okay, I think either half the board or a third of the General Assembly. We should refer.
So we can do it now.
The statute will have to be something we're going to get used to, like knowing.
Referring to, yeah.
So.
So we'll look
at.
Can we do that by email, right?
Yeah, we can as long as we call 48 hours in advance of the meeting,
Okay. So should we have email discussions about that to try and figure out when there's a convenient time for the next General Assembly? Because Andy and Cassie aren't here, and Cassie's now secretary.
Besides an extraordinary meeting to do like the board stuff or admitting people, I think there should be another meeting sooner to talk about the website, more immediate stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Like the actual, me and Andy are working on some promo material, but that's not going to be enough. We're going to need more promo stuff. But look, we got to remember as well. This meeting is all going to be public as well. That we're having now. Like this GA is being put up on the ImportantCool YouTube channel, which just briefly I was going to say, I'm thinking that because the next thing we've got to talk about is like the hard bit, which is actually doing the journalism and raising the money and making the promotional materials and stuff. I was thinking sometime soon we should have an active public Facebook page, an active YouTube account, this is going to be the first item on active Twitter. The Twitter's not been used used much. I have to talk to Andy about whether he wants to actually start using it or hand it off to someone else. And the other thing, and anyhow, maybe like an Instagram or whatever, and we'll have like a pre-launch site, right, which has a timer. Once we figure out when the actual website with like blog content and stuff is going to go up, and they have a countdown to that, but also link people from there to our social media accounts to try and build some presence in social media even before the soft launch. Then we'd have a period of awareness raising after the soft launch, then fundraising, then the hard launch. So we're talking about a hard launch in 6 months' time or something still, is in my mind.
That sounds good to me.
Sure.
I think we can tentatively set the next general meeting to admit members and take care of this procedural stuff. We can tentatively set it then for around August 15,
Okay.
and then talking about nuts and bolts stuff can come beforehand. But we don't actually need a general assembly to discuss that stuff. What we need is for everyone to agree on it. So we can do this planning beforehand. But let's tentatively say August 15, and that's far enough out that I think we can all end up showing up, or enough of us can.
Yeah, we can get going.
Does that sound good?
You're going to be in the middle of the Colombian jungle on the 15th, aren't you?
Yeah, that's definitely on the cards. I haven't got the dates fixed.
But that's not really an issue too, because we'll have the agenda laid out. You can send if there's stuff to be voted on, you can send it beforehand. It's not essential that every last person shows up, because it's more important that we still do our work. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all this kind of tends towards email voting, I think, as well, and perhaps a provision that every motion has to be discussed in an assembly.
Well, I mean, according to the statutes now, I think it's only admitting new members and changing positions that we need to do it in assembly. A lot of other things can be done via email votes or not. We have to change. If
This is something I can look this up.
We'll have to go look. I don't know.
We'll have to put, I think, a provision about email voting in the statutes at the next General Assembly if there isn't one already.
I'm gonna make sure all the English stuff is updated to the Spanish legal stuff so that everyone can access it at any time and check for themselves what they like.
Well, and I'm going to suggest that as we've got through this meeting without me saying cunt on a public forum. Oh damn! Oh damn! That we close it. But we almost made it, guys. Why didn't you stop me?
It was inevitable.
I should take a swig from my snake venom liquor before we switch the cameras off.
Yeah, why not? Seal the deal or something. You and the priest from Zamora. Get the priest in, Christian. Have a swig of snake liquor with him. Hey, Felicity's back in the house. Well, look, are we done, or should we? I'm sorry. I'm no longer.
As far as anything formal, I think that's what we needed to cover. I mean, we can. If there's other stuff that needs to be discussed, yeah, but I think the formal stuff is finished.
If we're just spitballing, there's no reason to include it. I'm going to stop the broadcast now, anyhow. And Patrick's just come in and voted yes. Yes, we have Patrick voting yes in the corner. Everyone can see that, right? In case it's not on the video.
Yep.
Because he hadn't sent a proxy vote. He's attending via the text chat. Okie doke. Shall we? I'm going to stop the broadcast. Would it be against our principles to continue talking here with the broadcast stopped?
No, because we're not making a decision about anything.
Okay. All right. Meeting
I don't
formally over. Now we're just going to have a normal Google Hangout.
I think we should talk about things that people